Good morning. Okay. Raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony given this call to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the true self you got.
Yes.
Okay, have a seat right there. Okay, there's a rule in effect, okay, that says that you can't be in court unless you're testifying. And once you have testified, don't tell anybody else what you testified to, except the lawyers, okay?
Yes.
Can I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Absolutely.
Why don't you move that clip up just a hair? There you go. That's good.
How old are you?
11,
And do you remember your birthday?
2011.
July 25th, 2011. What's your mom's name?
Amber,
And does your mom have any sisters?
she got 2.
And what are your mom's sisters' names?
Ashley and Atatiana.
And does your mom have any brothers?
She got 1, and his name is Darius.
I bet you that microphone is going to pick up what you're saying, so you don't have to lean over, but thank you for trying. Do you know the difference between a truth and a lie?
Yes, sir.
So, if I was to tell you, I'm holding up a marker. What color is this marker?
Red,
And let the record reflect I'm holding up a red marker. If I was to tell you this marker was blue, would that be a truth or a lie?
lie.
Is it good to tell a lie?
Yes, sir.
What happens when people tell lies?
They could get in big trouble.
You get in big trouble for telling a lie. So, can you promise me that everything we're going to talk about today will be true things?
Yes, sir.
What's your favorite sport?
Basketball.
And who's your favorite basketball team?
The Grizzlies or the Lakers.
Who's your favorite basketball player?
John Morant.
I'm sorry?
John Morant.
John Morant? Why do you like him the most?
Because he's a new player, but he act like he's not. He got good confidence, too.
Good confidence to go out there and play hard.
Yes, sir.
What grade are you in right now?
6.
You like school?
Yes, sir.
What do you like about school?
My teachers,
And what do you like most about your teachers?
they treat me well, and they show me how to do problems if I don't know how to do it.
Do you have a favorite subject in school?
Math,
Why do you like math so much?
because I like doing multiplication and division.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
An NBA player,
Do you have a backup plan in case you're not an NBA player?
a scientist.
Oh, a scientist. That's a great job. I want to talk to you this morning about your aunt, Atatiana. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
What did you call your aunt, Atatiana? Did you have a special name for her?
Aunt Tay.
Aunt Tay. And did you used to live with Aunt Tay?
Yes,
And when did you live with Aunt Tay?
when she moved in with my granny.
And does your granny have a different name?
Her name is Yolanda.
Yolanda. Is your granny still here with us?
No, ma'am. No, sir.
And when did she die? Do you remember?
3 months after my auntie died.
3 months after your Aunt Tay?
Yes, sir.
And so where were you? Do you remember the name of the street that you lived at with your granny and your Aunt Tay?
East Avenue, I think.
East Allen?
Yes, sir.
And why were you living there with your granny?
Because my mama wasn't doing good yet, so I had to live with my granny.
Was your mom sick?
Yeah,
And so who else lived with you and your granny on East Allen Avenue?
just me and my auntie and my granny.
Did you like living with your grandmother and your auntie?
Yes, sir.
What did you like about it?
I like how my auntie always play games and my granny take care of me.
What kind of games did your auntie play?
Apex Legends or Ream Royale.
Say it again.
Apex Legends or Ream Royale.
Oh, Ring Royale. What kind of games are those? Are those card games?
It's shooting games.
And what, are they video games?
Yes, sir.
Did you get to play with her?
Yes, sir.
Do you like playing video games?
Yes, sir.
Did Aunt Tay also show you how to do different things like mow the front yard
Yes, sir.
and how to do different chores?
Yes, sir.
What other chores did she teach you to do?
It's not a chore, but she taught me how to make hamburger patties.
How do you make hamburger patties?
You take them out the freezer, put them on a pan, or put them in an oven, or get a pan and put them on there and put it on the stove and just let it sit and then flip it.
And what do you do after you flip it?
When it's done, I put it on some hamburger buns, put ketchup, lettuce, and pickles, and eat it.
Okay, now let me get this straight. What do you put on your hamburger again?
Ketchup, pickles, and lettuce.
And that's your favorite way?
Yes, sir.
No mustard? You shaking your head no?
No, sir.
And no onions?
No onions.
Okay. Well, that was nice for her to teach you how to do that.
Yeah.
What other things did you used to do with Aunt Tay?
We used to go to the park all the time.
What would y'all do at the park?
Sometimes we would play tag or hide and seek or just walk around in the little park area.
Did you love your Aunt Tay?
Yes, sir.
You miss her?
Yes, sir.
So I want to go back to the night that something happened to Aunt Tay. Is that okay if we talk about that?
Yes, sir.
So before you were in the bedroom with her, with Aunt Tay, what were you doing? What were y'all doing together?
Playing video games.
Before then even, did y'all cook hamburgers that night?
Yes, sir.
Who cooked the hamburgers?
Me.
All right. Did you cook them just like you told us earlier?
Yes, sir. But I burnt them.
You burned them? How'd you know you burned them?
Because we were just playing games, then we just heard the alarm going off, then we opened it, a whole bunch of smoke came out of the oven.
And were you cooking these in the kitchen?
Yes, sir.
So what'd you do after all the smoke came from burning the hamburger?
We opened up the screen door and let the smoke go out, and we were just getting paper and going like that so the alarms could stop. And when it was done, we went back playing our video games.
Okay, I saw you made a motion with your hand while you were talking. I'm going to kind of explain what you did so the court reporter can type it up, and you tell me if I'm wrong, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so were you waving your hand in a back and forth motion in front of your face?
Yes, sir.
And were you doing that to show how you were waving the smoke out of the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, did you eat those hamburgers? Did you eat them?
Yes. No, it was burnt. Only one of them survived.
Okay, so what'd you do with the burnt ones?
I threw it in the trash.
And what'd you do with the one that survived?
Ate it.
And what'd you put on it?
Ketchup, pickles, and mustard. Lettuce.
Was it a good hamburger?
It was.
What'd you do after you ate that hamburger?
I went to my auntie's bed and played on my Nintendo Switch.
What's a Nintendo Switch? If I've never heard of it before, how would you explain it to me?
It's like a video game. It's a screen, and it got like 2 controllers on the side of it.
Is it the type of video game you play on a TV screen, or is it something you hold in your hand and the screen's in your hand?
Both.
Oh, you can take what's on your screen in your hand and put that on the TV?
Yes, sir. You could take off the controllers and, like, when you buy it, there's like a kit where you could plug the HDMI in it and take off the controllers and put the screen on it, and then you'll see it on the TV.
Were you playing it on the TV or in your hand after you ate that hamburger?
In my hand.
And what was your Aunt Tay doing?
She was playing video games with her friends.
Okay. Was she playing video games on a handheld device or on the TV?
On the TV.
Do you remember what type of gaming system it was?
A PS4.
And when you say she was playing with her friends, were her friends in that bedroom with y'all?
No, sir.
Where were they?
They was in another house, but she added them to a party so they could talk to each other.
How was she talking to them?
On a mic.
And was she hearing what they were saying?
Yes, sir.
And what game was she playing?
Ring Royale.
Ream Royale.
Yes, sir.
So, did you end up falling asleep that night? On
No,
the
sir.
bed?
No, sir.
What room were you in while you were playing your Nintendo Switch with your Aunt Tay?
My Aunt Tay's room.
Aunt Tay's room. Were you on the bed, on the floor, or something different?
On the bed.
And do you remember what you were wearing?
Only underwears.
Were you under the covers or over the covers?
Under the covers.
Was it a little cold?
No.
No? It was good underneath the covers.
Yes, sir.
How long did Aunt Tay play video games that night?
Like an hour or 30 minutes.
Did you ever go to sleep at all?
No, sir.
Not before she heard a noise, you didn't fall asleep just for a little bit?
No, sir.
All right, so did your Aunt Tay hear a noise outside the bedroom?
Yes, sir.
What were you doing when your Aunt Tay heard that noise?
I was still playing on my Nintendo Switch.
How did you know your Aunt Tay heard a noise?
Because she told me, did you hear it? And I said no.
Was the lights on? Were the lights on in that bedroom?
Yes, sir.
And after she told you she heard a noise, what did she do?
She went to get her weapon in her purse.
Where was her purse?
Next to her table where she worked at.
Before she heard that noise outside, where was your Aunt Tay sitting? Was she at that desk?
No, she was in the middle of the room with her, she had her chair in the middle of the room playing on the game.
And so you said she went to her purse and grabbed out a weapon. What do you mean by weapon?
A gun.
Was it a big long gun or a gun that you can hold in your hand?
A gun you can hold in your hand.
And did you see her go to her purse and get that gun?
Yes, sir.
And what did she do after she took the gun out of her purse?
She just held it to her side. She didn't point it up. She just kept it next to her, like on her side.
And where did she go after she picked up the gun?
She was about to start walking to the window.
Okay. And when she walked to the window, what did she do?
I didn't hear nothing after that. I just seen her fell on the floor.
Okay, I want to go back just a little bit. Do you remember that night, after all this was over with, going to talk to a lady at a special place in a little bitty room?
No, sir.
We talked about this before. Her name was Lindsay Dula, and you talked about what happened?
Like when they took me?
Yes.
Oh, yes, sir.
And you went and talked to that lady and told her everything about what happened, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you see, whenever your Aunt Tay walked towards the window with the gun, did you see her kind of pull the gun up just a little bit away from her side?
No, sir.
Now, when we talked before, you said that she did kind of pull the gun up a little bit. Do you remember that?
No, sir.
It's okay if you remember it. I just want you to remember it exactly the way you do. Do you remember if she had the gun up or down?
Down.
Down. Are you sure she didn't have it up at all?
No, sir.
Okay. And how close did Aunt Tay get to the window?
I can't, I don't know how to, say how far she was. I could say, she was 3 feet away.
Okay. She got pretty close to the window?
Yes, sir.
Was she saying anything to you as she got closer to the window?
No, sir.
Did you hear anything as she got closer to the window?
No, sir.
Did you see something that happened?
I seen her fell on the ground.
Did you see anything outside the window?
No, sir.
You didn't see a man with a badge?
No, sir.
Did you hear anything before she fell to the ground?
No, sir.
What happened after she fell to the ground?
She started crying, and then after that, 2 police officers came and got me.
Did you know what had happened at that point?
No, sir.
Did you know if your Aunt Tay was hurt?
Yes, sir.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking, is it a dream?
How did you think she was hurt?
because she was crying and just shaking.
What happened when the two policemen came into the bedroom?
They seen me and they told me to get up and they took me to the back of a police car.
Did one police officer take you or both of them?
Both of them.
Both of them? Are you sure it wasn't just the woman police officer?
No, sir. Like the man, he walked a little bit, but then the lady told him like to go check on her. Like when we got halfway, like right there by the kitchen, so he did.
By the entrance of what? By the entrance of what?
Repeat what you just said so she can
Oh,
hear you.
she told the man to go check on her. Go check on my auntie to see if she was still alive, and he said okay.
Did you know if your auntie was still alive at that point?
No, sir.
Where did that woman officer take you?
To the back of a police officer. I mean, she took me back to back of a police car.
And when she took you to the back of the police car, what were you wearing?
Only underwear.
Were you cold?
Yes, sir.
Were you scared?
Yes, sir.
Why were you scared?
Because I see my auntie crying, so I thought it had to be something serious.
Did you know what those police were doing?
No, sir.
And do you remember how long you sat in that car?
About like 5 minutes, waiting for an officer to come, wherever they was going to take me.
Did another officer show up that you hadn't seen before?
Yes, sir.
He was different than the two that came in the house, right?
Yes, sir.
And what did that officer do with you?
He was the owner of the police car, so he gave me like a big shirt to put on. And then after that, I fell asleep.
Was that officer very nice to you?
Yes, sir.
You remember his name?
No, sir. He never told me his name.
But he was really nice.
Yes, sir.
And what happened after you fell asleep?
I fell asleep and then he woke me up, and I was at like a little daycare or foster care.
Oh, the place where the woman talked to you?
Yes, sir.
And was that woman really nice to you?
Yes, sir.
And she just explained that she had to ask you some questions about what happened, is that right?
Yes, sir.
When did you find out about what happened to your Aunt Tay?
After a couple of days, when I stayed with my mama, when she came and got me from the place,
And what did you find out had happened?
I seen she died, so when I seen she died, I went to my mama and asked her, is that true?
Did you find out it was true?
Yes, sir.
How'd that make you feel?
I was very upset.
Were you upset that night? Did it happen?
I wasn't upset. I was confused because I didn't know if it was a dream and if I wasn't waking up still.
Did you hear anyone get shot that night?
No, sir.
Why don't you think you heard anything?
I probably don't just remember it, but I think I didn't hear nothing.
Did you hear the policeman say anything outside the window?
No, sir. I don't remember.
Do you remember seeing him at all outside the window?
No, sir.
The house that you lived at with your granny and your aunt Tay, how many front doors did it have?
Had two.
And which of those front doors did y'all normally use?
The side one, the one where the car was next to.
The side door that the cars were next to, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the other door points out to the street, right?
Yes, sir.
Did y'all ever use that one?
Sometimes if we order something to eat.
And those doors, did y'all normally keep the doors closed?
Yes, sir.
Now, because those hamburgers were burning, what'd you do with those doors? What'd you and Aunt Tay do with those doors that night?
So we forgot the front door was open, and the screen door was still kind of open when I opened the window off it.
So y'all kind of open up the doors to let the smoke out?
Yes, sir.
But those glass screen doors were still kind of shut, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Those were open too? We'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, we've been going a while. I want to take our mid-morning break, okay? You stay right here, okay? Y'all retire to your jury room.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name?
Yes, sir.
My name's Bob.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Our tires even look kind of alike from a distance. So, you were very kind and answered all of Mr. Smith's questions for him this morning. Would you mind if I ask you a few questions too?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And what I really want to talk to you about, since it's, 11 o'clock in the morning and my stomach's growling, I really want to talk to you about those hamburgers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, are hamburgers your favorite food?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is?
It's buffalo wings.
Okay. All right, I like those too. So let's go back to when you were living with Aunt Tay. Okay?
Okay.
And that was Grandma Yolanda's house, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And Grandma Yolanda was in the hospital, did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
And your mom was also having some health issues.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Aunt Tay was taking care of you, right?
Yes, sir.
How long had you been staying at that house?
I really don't know. I probably when I was like 5 or 6. So like a couple years.
Okay. It wasn't your first day there, you've been there for a while.
Yes, sir.
And so at the time this all happened, it was just you and Aunt Tay staying there, right?
Yes, sir.
And the cars in the driveway, did one of those cars belong to Aunt Tay and one to your grandma?
Yes, sir.
Okay, which one belonged to which?
The white one belongs to my auntie. The gray one belongs to my granny. But I don't think the gray one was there.
I'm sorry?
But I don't think the gray one was there.
Was there a blue one there?
No, sir.
Compared to most of the rest of the neighborhood, was that a pretty new house?
Yes, sir.
Do you know how long ago the house had been built?
Like how long it took them to build it?
Yeah, how long had the house been there? Do you have any idea?
We just got it, so like I could say like 2 years.
2 years?
Yes, sir.
What had you and your aunt been doing earlier that day?
Playing video games.
Is that what you did all day?
Yes, sir.
Did you go to school that day?
Yes, sir.
After you got home from school, you started playing video games?
Yes, sir.
Was there any lawn mowing work going on that day?
No, sir.
Was that the day before?
No, sir.
Did you have a bike?
Yes, sir.
What kind of bike did you have?
A BMX.
BMX bike?
Yes, sir.
Do you know where it was?
It was in the garage.
Did that house have one garage or 2 garages?
One.
Was there another building back behind the garage?
And no, because because behind the garage it's an alleyway. But after the alleyway there's a building. So, kinda.
I got you. Okay. Did you ever cut the grass there before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Tay showed you how to cut the grass?
Yes, sir.
So was that your job?
Yes, sir.
How often did you have to do it?
Every time I get like 3 inches, I'll cut it.
Did you get a little bit of money for that?
No, sir.
And she also showed you how to cook hamburgers? Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what time that night you cooked the hamburgers?
Repeat that again.
Do you remember what time that night, let me rephrase it. Do you remember what time that night you burned the hamburgers?
Right after I got out of school.
Okay. So, do you remember
No, sir.
Probably still daylight when you got out of school, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you go anywhere after school, or did you just come straight home?
I came straight home.
You know when I use the phrase extended care, do you know what that means?
No, sir.
Did you, after school, did you go play anywhere at the school?
No, sir.
Okay, so when classes were done, you got picked up and came home?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, that's what I was getting at.
Go ahead, Mr. Gill.
Trying to figure out where the beeping's coming from.
We took care of it.
So that evening, you said your aunt was playing video games?
Yes, sir.
Were you playing video games too?
Yes, sir.
Were you playing on the same device, or were you playing on different devices?
Different.
Which? That's a bad question, sorry.
My auntie was playing on the PS4, and I was playing on the Nintendo Switch.
Now, you're gonna have to help me here, because I don't know a whole lot about video games, okay? You said something about your auntie had her friends.
Yes,
She
sir.
was playing with her friends.
Yes, sir.
How does that work?
So she get the controller, then she go to messages, and she texted me and said, "Do you want to play?" And they said, "Sure." So they made a party chat, and they just started talking.
I'm having a little trouble hearing.
Say it again.
If you would.
Speak up a little louder.
So she go to messages, then text them, do they want to play? And then they say sure, so they make a party chat, and they start playing.
That voice was much better, so keep that up, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so if I have this straight, she can send a text message to people and invite them to play with her on this game.
Yes, sir.
And they could be remote in some other house or some other town and still play the game with her, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because in this electronic age we live in, she can do all that online, right?
Yes, sir.
So she said she was playing a game called Ring Royale.
Ream.
Can you spell it?
REALM.
Okay, Realm Royale. That sound right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you know a lot more about it than I do. So what's that game about?
It's like Call of Duty, but kid friendly. Like if somebody kill you, you turn to a chicken, and then you have to run around for 10 seconds. And if you run around for 10 seconds, you turn back to a human. But if they kill you as a chicken, you have to start another game up. You have to go to a different server.
Okay. So you said something earlier about there being some shooting involved in it.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that.
So, like, you could forge weapons like swords, guns, and you could forge shields. Me and my auntie, we usually forge shields and guns because the swords, it's really not that good.
Okay, so your auntie was playing that game, and so your auntie and these other folks were shooting at each other on the game?
No, like, it's when they join, when they join, they come as a team. So, like, say it's only her, they have to do a solo match. And say if another one joined, they had to do duos. Another one trios, then the fourth is a whole squad. So that's how they do it. But if, like, you want to do, like, you want to battle your friends, you have to go to, like, a custom match.
I think I get it. So, my kids used to play video games sometimes, and there's a controller, right? A thing you hold in your hand,
Yes, sir.
and that's how you play the game, right?
Yes, sir.
And on this controller, there's buttons you push, right?
Yes, sir.
And on the buttons, is there a button on that game, you push a button and shoot a gun?
Yes, sir.
So that's kind of what the game's about, right?
Yes, sir.
Shooting the bad guys? Is that what it's about?
It's not bad guys, it's just like, I could say it's bad guys, but I don't know if it's really the game about bad guys.
Another team?
Yes, sir.
Team, okay. So it's kind of a competition?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got you. Okay. So, you were, I think you described that you were in the bed
Yes, sir.
playing on your game,
Yes, sir.
and your aunt was where?
In the middle of the floor on her chair, sitting in her chair playing the game.
When you say in the middle of the floor,
Like the middle of the room.
okay? Okay. And she was sitting in a chair,
Yes, sir.
and she was playing the game. The game she was playing was on a TV screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody showed you any pictures of that room?
Say it again.
Has anybody showed you any pictures of that room?
The room?
Of the room you were in?
No, because I was already in the room.
Okay. Was the TV screen that she was using to play on the one that was in front of the bed?
Yes, sir.
So in that room, there was a TV screen and there were some computer monitors too, right?
Yes, sir.
She was using the TV screen, right?
Yes, sir.
So it was just you and her in the house. Were there some pets also?
Yes, sir.
What kind of pets did y'all have?
Dogs, kittens, and a rabbit.
How many dogs?
Sorry, it's kind of difficult. It's because some of them got missing and some of them died, so I had to count it.
So on this particular night, you remember how many dogs were in the house?
There was like 2 dogs, 1 adult dog and 1 puppy,
Okay. And were there any cats?
3 kittens.
Three kittens?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And a rabbit?
Yes, sir.
How'd the rabbit get along okay with all the others?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the time, you described the time when your aunt was playing the video game and she said she heard something out in the yard, right?
Yes, sir.
But you didn't hear anything in the yard, did you?
No, sir.
Okay. That's what you told us earlier, right?
Yes, sir.
And when she heard something out in the yard, she said that to you, I hear something, right?
Yes, sir.
And then what did she do?
She went to get her gun in her purse.
She had a gun in her purse.
Yes, sir.
Where in the room was her purse?
By her monitors. By her table where her computers are.
Okay. Was there anything else near her tables where her computers are?
Not what I know of.
Was her purse near the window?
Like 5 feet away from it.
So 5 feet back into the room?
Yes, sir.
It was in the same room y'all were in, right?
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just wanted to be sure. And she wanted her purse, and did she, was the purse up on the desk, or was it down on the ground, or?
Down on the ground.
And she, what she did, reach into her purse
Yes, sir.
and pull the gun out?
Yes, sir.
How did she pull the gun out of her purse?
She looked in her purse, and then when she looked at it, she got it and just had it next to her.
Show us how she had it. You mind standing up?
Go ahead and stand up.
Look over there.
Do you want to stand there or come down?
Right here would be great. Everybody would see. Okay. All right. Why don't you turn and face the jury just real quick so they she was doing that, do you remember which way she was facing?
She was looking towards the window.
How many windows did that room have?
One.
So if we say the window, it's pretty clear which window we're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that the window where she said she heard something in the
Yeah.
backyard?
Yes, sir.
And you said she was looking out in that backyard?
Yes, sir.
And you were looking out in that backyard too, weren't you?
No,
Well, what were you looking at?
my Nintendo Switch.
So it didn't capture your attention at all? That your aunt
No.
heard something in the backyard and pulled a gun out of her purse?
No, because at first she told me it might have been a raccoon, and I thought it might have been a raccoon too.
What?
She told me it might have been a raccoon, so I'm like, there's nothing I should care of.
Okay. Did you ever tell anybody that before about the raccoon? Never told anybody about that before? Okay. Is that right?
You have to
Yes,
answer
sir.
out for me, okay? Don't shake your head, answer yes or no.
Yes, sir.
So to be clear, that's the first time you've ever said anything about a raccoon, right?
Yes, sir.
And while she's looking at this out the back window, what's she doing with that gun?
She still had it beside her.
You talked to Mr. Smith earlier about the fact that there was after what happened, you got put in a police car, right?
Yes, sir.
And the police car that you were in took you down to a place where you sat in a room and talked to a lady, right?
Yes, sir.
And it was just, in that room, it was just you and the lady, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
There wasn't anybody else in there, was there?
No, sir.
And you started talking to this lady, you told her who you were and how old you were and where you lived and stuff like that, right?
Yes, sir.
And you and this lady had a conversation.
Yes, sir.
And she was a pretty nice lady, wasn't she?
Yes, sir.
Did she get you some socks earlier?
I don't remember.
And that lady started asking you some questions about what you'd seen that evening, didn't she?
Yes, sir.
And that lady, what you and she talked about was how important it was for you to tell the truth, right?
I don't remember.
And she went over some questions with you to make sure that you understood the difference between telling the truth and telling a lie, right?
No.
You don't remember?
No, sir.
Well, you're not one of those kids that goes and runs around telling stories, are you?
No, sir.
And you knew how important it was, the stuff that she was talking to you about, right?
Yes, sir.
She told you to make sure that everything you told her was the truth, right?
Don't remember.
She also told you and asked you if you knew that there was a camera in that room, right?
Still don't remember.
And you pointed and you told her, yes, there was a camera in that room. Remember that?
No, sir.
And she told you that what you were saying and what she was saying were being recorded, right?
No, sir. Don't remember.
And you were okay with that, weren't you?
I don't remember.
And she told you that where you were was a safe place to talk, and that she was just gonna listen to what you had to say, right?
I don't remember.
And she told you that there weren't any right or wrong answers to all the things she asked you.
I don't remember.
Well, she was a pretty fair lady, wasn't she?
I don't know.
Council approved.
What I'm hearing you say to me this morning is that you're having a hard time remembering what you told that lady.
Yes, sir.
And why that is?
Because it's been 3 years. I don't remember nothing from years ago.
At some point in the 3 years, did you come down to this building and sit down and talk to these two folks over here, the prosecutors?
Yes, sir.
Okay. They invited you to come down because they wanted to hear what you had to say, right?
Yes, sir.
How many times did you do that?
Read that.
How many times did you come visit with them?
Probably like once or twice.
And did you answer all their questions?
Yes, sir.
Did they play that video recording for you?
Yes, sir.
They did? You had a chance, which video recording did you watch? When I say that video recording, what was on it?
Read that.
What video recording did you watch? Did you watch the one of you and us talking to the lady?
No, sir.
You watched a different video?
No, sir. Oh, my bad.
Which video did you watch?
Do I have to answer that?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a different question. Was it the video of the camera the police officer had on?
Yes, sir.
Did you watch that with these two folks?
Yes, sir.
But you had already seen that before, hadn't you?
What, the video?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How many times?
Don't remember.
More than once?
Don't remember.
More than once?
I don't remember.
Other than before you talked to the lady, you had not seen that video, had you?
No, sir.
So the first time you saw it was after you talked to the lady you've been talking about, right? Other than these two DAs over here, when you talked to them about this, who else did you talk to about it?
Nobody.
Not a single soul in the entire world. You didn't talk to.
I really don't like talking about what happened. So that's why I
That's
don't
fair.
tell nobody.
That's fair. But wasn't your mom curious about what happened?
Because she's seen the video already.
So you just haven't talked to anybody at all about it?
No.
You know who a guy named Lee Merritt is?
Yes, sir.
Who is Lee Merritt?
He is a lawyer, attorney lawyer.
And he represents your family, doesn't he?
Yes, sir.
So did you talk to him about this?
No, sir.
Not a word.
No, sir.
Who passed the witness? Thank you.
Redirect, I'm sorry.
Yes, Your Honor, briefly.
Yes, sir.
And for the record, I would like to say whenever witness got down from the stand, defense, please correct me if I'm wrong, he demonstrated how Tay had the gun. His right hand was about at his belt line, his right elbow slightly bent, and his fingers were pointing down as if he held something for purposes of the record.
Defense agrees.
Generally, yes, sir.
Okay, that's what the court's recollection was.
I just got a few more questions, okay? Now, are you sure that we watched that video? Did you watch that video with me and Ashley? You don't know? The time that you came to see us a couple of weeks ago, what did we do?
We just talked and I drew a picture for you.
You just talked and drew a picture. You didn't watch a video that day, did you?
No, sir.
And did we go to a courtroom?
Yes, sir.
What did we do in the courtroom?
He showed me where I'm going to be at and how I'm going to be on my deal on that. And I seen a judge, not this judge, but a different judge.
And we talked, kind of asked some of the same questions we did earlier today about sports and things like that. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever done anything like this before, testified in front of a bunch of people?
No, sir.
Has it been a little scary?
Yes, sir.
Have you done your best to tell us what happened the way you remember it?
Yes, sir.
You've been pretty brave today.
Thank you.
We'll pass the witness.
Mr. Gill.
Just briefly, Judge. Just a couple more questions, then you're gonna go home, okay?
Yes, sir.
When you met with these two folks over here a couple of weeks ago, you told them something different about how your aunt was holding that gun, didn't you?
No, sir.
You told it exactly like the same way you told it here today?
Yes, sir.
That's all we have, Judge.
Mr. Smith.
No further questions.
May this witness be excused subject to any potential recall?
You may. No objection to the state, right?
Okay.